Hey YouTube, Peterbilt Knife Guy, and today we're going to be taking a look at a REIFF Knives F6 Leuku. Blade's still straight actually. That is right. This is the, like I said, REIFF Knives F6 Leuku with black G10 handle scales, and she is riding in CPM 3V. What we have here is a very, very expensive knife that I would have never been able to get a hold of if it wasn't for my buddy Gabriel over at The Last Huntsman, who I will put his information in the description. But he ended up purchasing this. He actually bought this and sold it to me for a highly discounted price because these little bastards are expensive. Speaking of which, let's go over the price, because that is the main issue with this knife. No knife is perfect. We're always on the hunt as knife people and knife reviewers to find the perfect knife. After many, many years of knife collecting and a couple years of YouTube, I have decided it doesn't exist. But there's pros and cons of everything, and the main con of this knife is the sticker price. It is about $400. It's like $385 or something like that, but then you got to calculate some tax on top of it and shipping, if there is shipping, and you're looking at a well over $400 knife. That being said, it is a well executed knife. It is rather comfortable. It does have an extremely large handle, which is good in my situation because I have extremely large hands. But for somebody with smaller hands, you may not like this as much because you're gonna have a lot of freaking room to float around on that handle. Even me with double extra large hands, I still have room to float on this handle, which is nice because you know, it gives you different handle positions. Whatever. We don't have jimping. We don't have a finger choil. Two awesome things in my opinion. I don't mind jimping too much, but I do mind the finger choil. But I do enjoy a good sharpening choil, and it has a decent sharpening choil. Well executed. I mean, if you're getting up on something real close, I mean, you could still do it without a freaking finger choil. Like, can you put your finger here? Yeah. Been doing it for years. But yeah, so REIFF Knives F6, it's called the Leuku. I'm not gonna call it the Leuku because even though it might be, I don't know, what is it, the pattern? I don't know. I don't do research for this crap. I'm Peterbilt Knife Guy. I just do what I want. So we have an exactly 6-inch blade here. This one's probably was 6 inches before I don't know, Gabe maybe over sharpened it or something, but it's just a hair under 6. And cutting wise, you know, we're I don't know, I would say 5 3/4 at best. Handle wise, like I said, very, very large handle. We're looking at over about 5 1/4 inches with the inner grip where your freaking hand is going to be. You're looking at 4 3/4. That's massive. That is a good knife handle. It's pretty well contoured, but it is kind of broomsticky, if that is even a word. It is very round. So indexing it could come out of index pretty easy. I mean, it's easy just to spin in my hand like that. So that's something to consider, being that it is kind of a hard use survival outdoors knife, camp knife, stuff like that. The fact that it doesn't index very well, or it will index, but I mean, I could just see this if you had slippery hands, because the G10 can get slippery. They do make micarta models, and I imagine that would offer you a little bit more grip. I know Gabriel likes the micarta better than the G10. The Sheath for $400. That is, I want some bells and whistles on here for 400 bucks. There is no bell or no whistle on here. Gabriel, when he sent me this, he had taken off the original clip, and I put myself a Tops clip on there because if you look at the difference between, actually, let me go grab one right now. Tops knives share pretty much the same deal. I mean, honestly, when I first got this, I could have swore Tops was the manufacturer for their sheath. There's a lot of similarities. Actually, whoever they get it manufactured by, it might be the same people. Very same ramp, exact same attachment part on the sheath here, except for I believe this one came with a plastic clip, and I put the metal clip from this tops knife onto here. They both, I mean, it just worked perfectly. It literally swapped off of here right onto there. So yeah, a lot of similarities there. I'm still convinced that whoever manufactures top sheaths also do REIFF knives sheaths. So that is that. So I mean, but other than that, is it a functional sheath? Yes. Does it have a nice click in it? It absolutely does. Good deployment, very nice. Slim package, which I do enjoy. You know, sometimes when you get into these bigger knives with the double rivets around the pancake style, you know, it can get a little bit cumbersome, especially because I'm the type of guy who likes to slip this in a pocket or a bag instead of actually carry it on my person. And that is also another reason why I put this tops clip on here, is because it's just easy for me to carry it. Lanyard hole. This is one thing that I wish was different on this knife, especially for $400. It's just a standard drilled through lanyard hole. Give me something fancy. Give me something like this guy. I want a little extra work put in there for that much money. That's just my opinion. So we have a half saber ground knife. It is 3/16 inch thick, CPM 3V. I do know that the REIFF, they run these a little bit soft for me on 3V. I think it's like 59 to 60. If I'm wrong, I'll put it in here, and if you don't see anything, then I was probably right. But I want my 3V ran just a tad, a little harder. And that's just my personal opinion. But as for toughness, it's probably just going to be a pry bar. I totally think this knife is bomb proof. Weight wise, I don't have a scale. I'll put it in here. I need to get a scale for these damn reviews. But yeah, so REIFF knives, F6 Leuku. Now, being the fact that this knife is a very expensive knife, even out of my budget range, let's look through a couple competitive models, in my opinion, that if this is too far out of your price range, like it'd be a lot of people's, that might be a little bit better for you and very similar. And let's go more expensive to less expensive. So next is very competitive, newer knife on the market is the Architect knives. This happens to be the 5.5. Actually, funny enough, Gabriel has my 6.5. We traded knives for that. So I like this one, but I mean, you're looking at a 5.5 inch blade versus a 6 inch blade. You're really not gaining a hell of a lot by this. I honestly give the handle to this, to the Architect knives. I just find it more comfortable. And then I like that the lanyard hole isn't in the handle on this, even though I'm not a fan of the exposed pommel. And once again, there is no finger choil. This runs, depending how you set it up, how I have this one set up, you're looking at about 240 bucks. 230. You could probably go cheaper than that, actually, especially if you get the carbon steel version. This is the 3V. Next on the one down is this one's another one I freaking love, the Work Tough Gear Wolverine and SK85. I mean, if you got to put these two knives up to each other, I just like the SK85. I just do, or the Wolverine. It's just a badass knife. It's got a very high blade. Similar, same thickness. They're both 3/16, and very comfortable handle, and just well done, and actually better contouring, you know, on this knife versus the REIFF. It's just way more comfortable to hold on to for extended periods of time. That is, your mileage may vary, but another one. I believe these come in at about 160. They're hard to get a hold of, but they do drop in batches, and they're not impossible to get. But that's another excellent option if you're not going to go with the REIFF. And for our budget option, this is the F&Grow EF 128. I know a lot of people don't know of F&Grow, and if you do, some don't like them, but I've had excellent experiences with them. And this knife right here shares similar specs with the REIFF knife, with a much better handle, in my opinion. It is kind of round, but it indexes well, and it doesn't want to twist in the hand, which is nice. And it's just a good budget option. These come in around 45, 50, 60 bucks, somewhere around in there. I looked it up before this, but I can't remember. But also just another good budget knife in this size with a lower saber grind. This one actually has a clip on the point, which is nice, be better for piercing. This one is DC 53 steel, and just a good frickin' knife. So these are some competitive options from your more expensive to less expensive. I mean, shit, you can even throw an SE6 in here if you're into SE. I didn't want to, but yeah. Bet you're sick of me rambling at this point. Let's go outside and use this damn thing. First off, is it sharp? Frickin' Peterbilt knife guy, you know it's sharp. The real question is, will you be able to feather stick with it? Now, that one's a little bit more hard to say because I am Peterbilt knife guy and I suck at frickin' feather sticking, but let's see what we can do. I mean, honestly, for somebody who sucks, I'm getting a little bit of nice curls. Yeah, look at that. Peterbilt knife guy might be able to make a fire and stay warm on this 200-degree day out here. I suck at making the big feather thing here, but that is the world's ugliest feather stick. But if you had to use it, that is some very fine tinder right there. Oops. Now for everybody's favorite task. We're gonna baton, and just to piss them guys off, the guys that hate batoning and think you should never do it, we're gonna do it on a manhole cover table. And we are gonna use a Bam Bam stick that Frank at What's the Point EDC made for me, and this is its maiden voyage. I thought I lost it, but I didn't, so thank you, Frank. Go check out his channel. His link's gonna be in the description. But let's baton through this piece of cedar. I believe this is cedar. Yep, that's cedar. Easy wood to start off with, so. Yep, kindling in no time. Because of the lower saber grind, this thing's gonna be a batoning monster. And being 3/16 inch thick, should have no problem making kindling for us people who don't bring an axe with us on a day walk. There we go. Nice little pile of kindling. What about something a little bit harder? Now, this piece of wood frickin' worries me because I don't know what it is, but it is a hardwood. It's heavy. Somebody in the comments might be able to tell what it is. Never batoned it. Gonna find out. But this guy is built like a tank, and I think there will be zero issues other than length restraints. But let's find out. Might need a bigger Bam Bam stick. Wow. Yeah. I don't know if you can tell, but that is already just put the slightest little bend in that blade. I don't know what kind of wood this is, but it's some tough shit. Ouch. My hand's not as tough. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, Frank. Yeah, that is a tough piece of wood. Let's get something different. And by different, I didn't mean different piece of wood. We're gonna go with a different hammer technique. Blade's still straight, actually. This wood is brutal. I don't know what the hell it is. Let's see here. Let's get this bark off of here. don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get through this guy. Oh, no. No, it is just murdering my hammer. No. I know the knife can handle it. I don't think I have a big enough baton. I don't have the blade sticking out. Oh. But I don't know what this wood is, but look down that. Wow. Oh, wow. Well, after all that abuse, she's still straight. She's a little warm. Tip's good. Blade's good. There was one nick in here that was already from Gabriel. All right, so that was a little bit more than this thing could handle just because of size-wise. And you know what? These scales, I was banging on them. They're a little uglier, but they didn't come misaligned. So that's good. Let's do some cross batoning. Because I love to make people mad when they watch this video. That's not how you use a knife. Shut up, that's how I use my knife. Speaking of which, let's try to chop something. Now, being that it's a 6-inch knife, it's not gonna be a super chopper, but let's just see what happens. We're gonna hold it way back here. It is sliding out of my hand big time, but it will chop. Not bad. And after all that, let's see if it's still sharp enough to cut a tube. Oh, there we go. Bam. Love it. All right, so the REIFF F6 Leuku in CPM 3V. I haven't done anything to the blade. Let's do a quick edge check. It's rough, but it was rough to begin with. Like I said, I haven't reground this thing because there was a couple chips in there already, but it's still razor sharp and did a decent job. Its only really issue was its length in that piece of wood. I imagine if I could be able to get a bigger purchase on it and beat the snot out of this thing, it would have popped it just fine. It did get a slight bend in it originally, but it came right out. It's CPM 3V. And it was very slight bend. Would I buy it personally for about 250 bucks? Brand new is what I would pay for this knife. 400, I mean, I know the way things are going financially. It's hard to even fill your grocery cart with 150 bucks anymore. But if you're willing to spend the money, it's a fantastic knife. If you a little more budget minded, there's a lot of other options out there, and I think that is this knife's biggest problem. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching.